Hi guys, Maikeru here. This is my Invention Batch 2 information video. I'm going to be talking about what's been added to the game and just some information about each thing like the machines and the new devices, but I'm also going to be testing out some machines myself. For the last 2 days since the patch hit the game, I've been testing auto-disassemblers. I've been disassembling maple logs for 24 hours and then I've disassembled gold bars for 24 hours. I'm going to speak about how much money I've made from these two things in 24 hours and have an hourly rate for them as well. Auto-disassemblers seem to make a fair bit of money. The Alka and stuff may be more and I'll have to test those in a different time. But let's get into this video. Starting off talking about the new invention machines. There's 5 different machines and they all do different things that are very useful. The Alchemizer, you have the tier 1 at 72 and tier 2 at 108, is an auto high alka. If you just leave it running, it will turn the items you put in there into gold. Rank 1 requires fire runes and natures, but rank 2 only requires 1 nature rune. The auto disassemblers, 60 for tier 1, 81 for tier 2, breaks down the items into useful parts and components, and that's what I'm going to be using in this video to try and see how much money I can make with simple parts. The plank maker, 99 for tier 1, 117 for tier 2, so that's a very high level requirement for the tier 2 plank maker, turns your logs into planks for the cost of divine charges. I think it's considerably cheaper than the 1.5k price tag they slap onto it normally, so that could be a very good one to test out. The partial potion producer, tier 1 at 90, tier 2 at 114, adds herbs into vials of water. It makes unfinished potions for you, but it does not take into consideration a scroll of cleansing. So it's not quite as good as if you made the unfinished potions yourself, but it is AFK. All you need is some herbs, some vials of water, and some divine charges. The automatic hide tanner, tier 1 at 93, tier 2 at 111, tans your hides to make leather of the same kind. It does tan quite a lot of hides in an hour, and it costs a fair amount of divine charge, so I'm not 100% sure how good the hide tanner will be. I think it'll be pretty damn decent though. Well, that's the base of the machines and what they do. So now I'm going to talk about power and what you need to actually power these machines. So how do you power these machines? Well, there's a thing called a generator that you build at the back of the Invention Guild. There is 3 different types of generator and you can upgrade your generator once you've built the previous one. So if you do want the jumbo generator, you need to build the simple, upgrade it to a large and then upgrade it to a jumbo. As you can see, each generator costs a certain amount of parts and they give more power every time and they require a higher level. So for the simple, it's level 60 and it gives you 100 power. If you upgrade the simple into a large, it will be level 80 required and it will give you 125 power. But if you wanted the biggest power supply, you want 102 invention and you can make it into a jumbo, which gives 160 power. The actual components that are required to build these are pretty easy to get. As you can see, it's only normally common or uncommon components. There isn't anything very hard to get at all. There's a reason why you need power. Every machine you build requires a certain amount of power to run, which means you can only build a certain amount of machines at the same time. On the screen now I'm showing all the tier 2 machines. The tier 1 machines are kinda lackluster and you should only build them if you have a spare, you know, like 25 power or something. Then you'll make 3 or 4 high tier things and then use 1 low tier thing just to cap out your power at the highest it possibly can be. But they don't provide that much profit or anything like that, so they're not too great. But as you can see, I've put the level required on the left for each of these things, and it shows you how many items they do in an hour and the power required alongside the divine charge required. So if you were going to tan hides, it tans 140 hides in an hour. It requires 50 power, which means you can build up to 3 of these, and it takes up 840 divine charges an hour. So if you had 3 of these running, you're going to be spending over 2,500 divine charges an hour, but you are going to be tanning over 400 hides. Then you've got the partial potion producer, which does 40 unfinished potions an hour, requires 50 power, and it requires 210 charges alongside the actual vial of water to go with your herbs. The high capacity plank maker can do 40 planks an hour, requires 65 power, so it is the thing that requires the most power out of everything, and it requires 600 divine charges. So for instance, if you were going to make the high capacity plank maker, you can only make 2 of them and it will take up 130 power. But this is the time where you build a smaller machine that is only around 30 power to maximize how many machines you can have running in an hour. The Alchemizer MK2 alks 25 items an hour, requires 55 power, and it uses up 150 divine charges alongside 1 nature rune on every alk. Lastly, the auto-disassembler can disassemble 60 items an hour. It requires 40 power, and 250 divine charges. From my testing with the auto-disassembler, it seems like it takes on your junk chance reduction, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, now I spoke about the machines and how many items and stuff they can do in an hour, let's get into my testing of the auto-disassemblers. Before you start doing all the new invention stuff, for the next 2 weeks the blueprints have plus 50% more experience and they give an absurd amount. So before you do anything else, I definitely advise learning all of the blueprints you can with perfect to get as much experience as possible. On my 10 HP PO I went from 117 all the way to 120 discovering all the blueprints. It's just so good how much experience they do give. I tested 24 hours of maple logs and 24 hours of gold bars to see how much simple parts I got from each thing and what was better in the long run. Gold bars are normally more expensive to get the parts, but if you're only doing 60 in an hour it may be better. Maple logs are always super consistent, so I'm going to go with maple logs being the best, but we'll see. I had 4 machines at tier 2 running all at the same time, taking up 160 power. To get an accurate price of the divine charges empty, at the start of making this video I bought one on the GE for instant price. I put in 20k and it instantly bought for 18,975. So what I'm going to do is, instead of taking the highest amount, I'm just going to say 18k for a divine charge empty, and that should be a perfect amount to be able to be instantly sold or whatever on the GE. The reason why I did this is because this costs 20 simple parts and our auto-disassemblers are giving us simple parts which we're going to use to make these for profit. This is my breakdown of 24 hours of maple logs with 4 machines running. I got 2,396 junk, which worked out around 100 per hour. I got 3,364 simple parts, which worked out to be around 140 per hour. This meant that I could make 168 divine charge empties that sell at 18k GP each. The whole day of using this was 22,080 charges. This amounted to 7.36 divine charges used. So we need to make sure to deduct this from the price. All of those divine charges empties at 18k each would be just over 3 million GP in profit. Now we have to deduct the 478k for the charges at 65k each, which is their going rate right now, and 260k for the logs that are around 45 to 50 GP each. This then works out to be 2,286,000 GP a day profit, which is actually pretty damn good. This means in a month you're going to be earning nearly 70 mil. 70 mil in a month for very, very little work is pretty damn awesome. This would then be the equivalent of 95,250 GP an hour. This is really, really awesome money, and I don't know what could beat this, to be honest. Alkas might, and I'll test those in the future, but this seems really, really solid. I also tried the disassemblers with 24 hours of gold bars with all 4 machines. These weren't quite as good money, but you got crafted parts at the same time. I got 4,274 junk, which was around 178 per hour. I got 3,860 simple parts, which was around 161 per hour. And I got 1,304 crafted parts, which was around 54 per hour. With the simple parts I made 178 divine charges empty, which again will sell for 18k. I used the same amount of charges, which was 7.36 divine charges, so those need to be deducted afterwards as well. This means the amount I made from the divine charges empty was 3.2 million GP. I have to take away the 478k for charges at 65k each, but then I also have to take away 1.67 million GP for the bars, which is a lot of money. This then makes the daily profit only just over a mil GP a day, but it does give you another 1,209 crafted parts if you wanted those. I would really stick to using maple logs though, because they seem so good. For the second part of this video, I just want to talk about the new invention devices. I'm going to be testing out a couple of these devices in the future, especially the Divine-O-Matic, to see how much money you can actually make. But either way, all of the new invention devices are pretty damn good. First of all, at level 43 invention, you can now craft a spring cleaner and tight springs. This means that not only can main accounts get a spring cleaner now, Iron Men accounts can now get it as well, which is really, really awesome. Say an Iron Man wanted to get 120 smithing or 99 smithing faster, they can disassemble all of the items and then they can rebuild them and get loads of XP. You can also now get mechanized siphons at 77. This automatically automatically siphons your equipment. You can change the settings to wherever you want it to automatically siphon your equipment. So if you want it to siphon at 12 or 9 or whatever you're doing, it will just automatically do that once you've set it. No need to run out of combat to get it all done. You can just have it auto done for you, which is pretty neat. You have a spirit tree rerouter. This requires 92 invention and it gives you a spirit tree teleport. You can just use it from wherever you're standing and teleport to any of the spirit trees, which is pretty useful. It's not the best thing in the world, but it is decent, especially for farm runs and stuff. The herb protector at 96 invention protects herb patches from disease. This is decent if you do your herb runs. It makes you more money in the long run because none of it will ever die. You can get an energy barrel at 98 invention. It's just a cosmetic backpack item. It looks pretty cool, so there's not much to say about that. You can make a whetstone at 100. This repairs degraded or damaged items for you, so you don't have to run to your house or whatever to repair them. You can just repair them with this item. I don't know how great that is because, you know, everyone's got their stuff augmented nowadays, so nothing really degrades or gets damaged except for boots and gloves. Boots and gloves take a very long time to degrade, so I don't know whether it's worth taking a whetstone somewhere just to repair something like that. You can now also make divine charges that are empty. This requires 101 invention and it's an empty shell that can be filled while harvesting with that Divine-O-Matic. These just take up 20 base parts and then you just charge them with the energy while siphoning with the Divine-O-Matic. So it just constantly fills up these empty divine charges and gives you a full divine charge by the end. It seems like a really neat way to train up divination and make more money while doing so. The divine charges that are empty are worth a fair bit of money as well. At 101 invention, you can make a Divine-O-Matic vacuum. It fills the empty divine charge packs that I just spoke about using the divine energy as you harvest it. This makes it much easier to get divine charges nowadays because these charge packs do fill up pretty quickly when using this Divine-O-Matic. You can also change the settings so it takes the memories as well, which makes it even more AFK and easier to make money. So it has two modes. You can have it so it takes the energy only and you dunk the memories in as normal, or you can have it take the memories and the energy. Personally, I'm going to try it with it taking everything, and then I'm going to make a video probably tomorrow in regards to the Divine-O-Matic. The miraculous treatment at 104 invention revives your dead farming patches. This would be amazing if it worked with trees, but sadly it does not revive any type of trees. So this miraculous treatment is kind of meh. I guess it will help here and there, but I really don't rate it, especially for 104 invention. You have a flat pack depacker at 104 invention as well. This, on the other hand, is absolutely amazing. It notes or disassembles flat packs on creation from a workbench. This makes Proteans 100% AFK if you have this flat pack depacker. You can just sit on the workbench with Protean planks and just do them forever. And if you're doing normal planks, it's pretty easy as well because you don't have to disassemble them or send them to the bank. It will just note them or disassemble them when you're making them on the workbench, so then your butler could just keep getting you 26 planks constantly. It seems like a very good addition to construction. At 110 invention, you can make a teleportation compactor. This combines multiple teleportation devices that you make. So it can combine all of the new devices that teleport you to places. So for instance, you have the spirit tree one, and you have the portable fairy rings. I guess this will combine both of those together if you want them to be. This saves inventory space, I guess, which is really useful. So speaking about combining teleports, there's a portable fairy ring you can make at 94 invention. This is legit just a portable fairy ring. It has 10 charges once you make it, so you can use it 10 times. It just allows you to go to any of the fairy ring networks from where you're standing when using that item. And then for the last invention devices, we have the potion reservoir. This requires 112 invention and it holds a potion inside that automatically renews it for you. So this would be really useful with stuff like overloads. I always forget to renew my overloads when doing stuff like Slayer when I'm AFKing. So this will just automatically renew it for me and I won't have to worry, which is pretty damn good. You can also toggle it so it doesn't auto renew, or you can right click it to drink from it before it's actually going to renew. There's also a combat dummy MK2. This requires 113 invention and it deploys to the dummy to then help stall adrenaline from attacking it. Everyone used to use their combat dummies from Treasure Hunter to stall adrenaline, but now there's an actual dummy you can make with invention to do this instead. Really great addition there. You have the separator at 115 invention. It removes both the gizmos from augmented items without damaging the equipment. It does require the item to be level 15 though, so you do have to level it up quite high to take them out. But say you have two really important gizmos in a weapon that you want to upgrade. So say you have a knock staff with precise 5 and aftershock 3. You can use this separator to get those out without losing your 30 mil or whatever you've spent on the gizmos. and then you can sell your Nox staff and go buy a staff of Slisker if you're upgrading it or something like that. Really, really awesome addition. Probably one of my favourite things from this patch. And then lastly we have some gizmo bags. Normal gizmos, before you actually put anything in them, stack now, but the ones you create do not stack. This means you can use this gizmo bag to store all of the gizmos that aren't stacking to save inventory or bank space. A small gizmo bag can store up to 10 gizmos, a medium gizmo bag can store up to 15 gizmos, and a large gizmo bag can store up to 20 gizmos. So it definitely helps save some bank space, and I would recommend doing this if you have quite a lot of loose gizmos laying about in the bank. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful. There was so much information with Invention Batch 2 to put together. Hopefully I done it in a good way and it made things a bit more clear for you guys. Give the video a like if you did enjoy it. Subscribe if you're new for loads of RuneScape 3 related stuff. Some useful information is on screen now if you care to check any of that. The Discord and the Twitter is in the description, and until next time, see ya.